بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين أجل الله تعالى فرجه الشريف. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين ورحمة الله وبركاته. We have been studying the love of Imam Mahdi Ajalallah Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif for people, especially for believers, and we mentioned different aspects of this love manifested in praying, in asking Allah to accept prayers of mu'mineen, having sympathy with them, becoming sad when they are sad, becoming happy when they are happy. So we discussed few things. One of the things that we find about Imams in general and Imam Mahdi in particular is the way they greet, either when they meet in person or when they write to someone. You could see their love right from the beginning through their greeting. For example, the way Imam Mahdi Ajalallah Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif greeted Sheikh Mufid Razwanullah Ta'ala Alayh in his tawqi' for him. For example, in Bihar al-Anwar, volume 53, page 174, we have this tawqi' that he says it came in the end of months of Safar, few days before the months of Safar finished, in the year 410. للأخ السديد والولي الرشيد الشيخ المفيد أبي عبد الله محمد بن النعمان أدام الله إعزازه من مستودع العهد المأخوذ على العباد. Even before the letter starts, as the title, when you, for example, on the envelope you put the receiver, it says for brother. Imam telling to an alim that he is his brother is a great honor. But not just brother, Akh Sadid, a brother who is firm, who is on the right path and is firm. Wal Wali Rashid, he is Wali. He is a friend, or he is a person with whom I have shared wilayah, and he is Rashid, he is guided. Al-Sheikh al-Mufid, the title, which is very respectful title. Then with his kunya Abu Abdullah, Muhammad ibn Nu'man, Adam Allahu i'zazah. May Allah continue dignifying him and honoring him. From مستودع العهد المأخوذ على العباد. From place that the covenant which has been made with servants of Allah is there. Because Imam Zaman is a kind of ahd between Allah and people, that Allah would send such a person and they should believe and support. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. This is now the beginning of the letter, the Tawqiyah. Amma ba'd. Salamun alayk. أيها المولى المخلص في الدين المخصوص فينا باليقين. Peace be upon you, O Mawla, O person who has wilaya. We share wilaya with each other. Who is mukhlis, who is pure, who is sincere, fiddin. His religion, his religiosity is pure for the sake of Allah. Al-makhsus fina bil-yaqeen. Someone who has certainty about us is blessed with the gift of certainty about us. فَإِنَّا نَحْمَدُ إِلَيْكَ اللَّهَ الَّذِي لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا هُوَ وَنَسْأَلُهُ الصَّلَاةَ عَلَى سَيِّدِنَا وَمَوْلَانَا نَبِيِّنَا مُحَمَّدٍ وَآلِهِ الطَّاهِرِينَ. And Imam continues and he says, إنه قد أذل لنا في تشريفك بالمكاتبة وتكليفك ما تؤديه عنا إلى موالينا قبلك. We have been given permission to honor you by writing to you. Allah has given Imam permission to honor Sheikh Mufid by writing. Imam loves to write to people, but there must be permission, there must be great maslahah for that. And to ask you to deliver anna on our behalf to our mawali, to our Shia who are qibalaka, who are in your reach, around you. A'azzahumullahu bita'atih. Then Imam makes dua for his Shia. May Allah honor them with his obedience. If you want honor, you should obey Allah. وَكَفَاهُمُ الْمُهِمُّ بِرَعَايَتِهِ لَهُمْ وَحِرَاسَتِهِ. And may Allah suffice them in caring, taking care of them and protecting them, so that those things that concern them would be taken care of. You see how Imam is respecting, honoring, showing love. At the same time that you see there is a kind of hierarchy, there is a kind of authority over Sheikh Mufid that he has, but so much of love and respect is also there. So this is not the only case. We have different cases. Inshallah, I will also mention another, inshallah, tawqi of Imam to Sheikh Mufid. So Imam alayhi salam is a manifestation of Allah's love and care and Allah's honoring and respecting. إن العزة لله ولرسوله وللمؤمنين. Allah has izzah and grants izzah. If you want izzah, you must go to Allah subhanahu. Rasulullah has izzah and gives izzah. Rasulullah doesn't humiliate people, honors people. Mu'minun, believers, and on top of them, Imam also have izzah and honor people. Till, inshallah, we reach the point that then we have universal governance of karama. Allahumma inna narghabu ilayka fi dawlatin karima. Till we reach وَتَرْزُقُنَا بِهَا كَرَامَةَ الدُّنْيَا وَالْآخِرَةِ. One of the things that also we find about Imam Mahdi Ajjalallahu Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif is that he gives gifts and he gives guidance and words of wisdom. One famous case that I mentioned in one of the introduction courses to Sahifa Sajjadiyya is a story of the grand scholar Ayatollah Allame Muhammad Taqi Majlisi, father of Muhammad Baqir Majlisi. The one who has compiled Biharul Anwar is Muhammad Baqir Majlisi. His father, Muhammad Taqi Majlisi, was also a great scholar, very important scholar. And there is a famous story that how, when he was young, he very much wanted to be very spiritual, to be close to Allah and to be close to the Hujjah of Allah. And he says that in a condition between sleeping and being awake, بين اليقظة والنوم, I had an encounter with Imam Mahdi Ajjalallahu Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif, and saw him. He is in Masjid al-Jami of Isfahan, because Majlisi, the father and the son, they lived in Isfahan. I told Imam Mahdi Ajjalallahu Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif, after saying salam and kissing his hand, that I have some issues. I mentioned my problems, and then I said, my Mawla, my master, I cannot always find you and reach you. So please introduce to me a book that I can act upon it, so that would solve my problem if I'm not able to come and see you. Imam told him, I gave a book to Mullah Muhammad Taj. Go and take from him. And when he goes and takes the book, then that book appears to be Sahifa Sajjadiyya of Imam Zainul Abidin alayhi salam. So this was a gift that Imam gave to Mullah Muhammad Taqi Majlisi. Sometime Imam may give us words of wisdom, may teach us a dua, may teach us a solution. There are lots of stories and examples. Another thing that we find about Imam alayhi salam is that when people are desperate, when they are in emergency, Imam may come and help them or send someone to help them, in addition to du'as that he makes. In some lectures I explained it in this way, that because Imam is in the occultation, So he is not supposed to come easily to intervene in our worldly affairs. The time of ghibah. We have to go through general rules and procedures. If I have a question, I have to ask my marja, for example. It's a fiqh question. If I have a aqaidi question, I have to study, I have to ask experts. I cannot expect Imam himself, communicates to me. If I am ill, I have to go to doctor, etc. But Imam is still supposed to guide us, to help us with our spirituality, which is not a worldly matter, it's spirituality, it's a religious matter. And if there are emergencies and we have become desperate, we have become mudtar, again Imam may have permission to come and help us if we reach the level of istirar. Like brothers of Yusuf told him, Ya ayyuhal aziz, massana wa ahlana dhur. Massana touched us and our family, people, adhur. When dhur, misery touches you, you become mustar. Amman yujibul mudtarra idha da'ahu wa yakshifu as-su. When you are mudtar, Allah helps you. And Imam al-Zaman is the hujjah of Allah this time. So Allah helps you through Imam al-Zaman. And Imam al-Zaman himself also is mudtar. Ayna al-mudtarru alladhi yujabu idha da'a. This is in Dua Nutbah. So I use this example. I say, sometimes you see there is fire exit, there is emergency exit. In some places, public places especially, they have emergency exit. Yeah. For Imam al-Zaman to come into our worldly life, he needs emergency entrance. So if we are in emergency situation, he come through emergency. Imagine, for example, there's a building that they have a special entrances for firefighters to come. In order to be always, available. No one uses except, for example, firefighters and, people who come for medical help, etc. This is emergency entrance. So, if we are mustar, they come and help. You have to understand your istirar and they come and help. And we have many examples. Maybe many of you have had experience of being mustar and doing tawassul to Imam al-Zaman and get your hajat. Even if you do tawassul to other ma'sumin, technically it's all coming from the living Imam of our time. So it's through Imam al-Zaman that we receive our hajat, even if we have asked another ma'soom, because in this age he is responsible. A very beautiful story that Mirza Hussain Noori, teacher of Sheikh Abbas Qummi, in his book An-Najm al-Thaqib mentions, and Sheikh Abbas Qummi also quotes this story from his teachers, Mirza Hussain Noori, who has many books like Mustadrak wa Wasa'il al-Shia. He has a book An-Najm al-Thaqib, and in this book he talks about people that met Imam al-Zaman, and he mentions how he received this report. For example, who was the person that told this to him. Very well documented. He says there was a businessman, a tradesman from the city of Rasht. Rasht is a city in northern northern Iran, in the north of Tehran, and near Caspian Sea. Is actually the center for the province of Gilan. It's a very well-known city, and we had many ulama also from that city. So, a very pious person who was a businessman, Sayyid Ahmad Rashti Musawi, in the year 1280, so about 164 years ago, he wanted to go for Hajj. And they had to go, with caravans and go through different cities. One passage was to go from Rasht towards northwestern Iran, the city of Tabriz, and then go through, Turkey, current Turkey. At that time was, Uthmani governance, and then go towards the south. In one station, they were told that the next stage, the next, part of our trip, we have to be very careful. Do not remain behind. Do not fall behind the group. You should all go together because there are dangers. So he says, before sunrise, we started moving. But weather was not good, and I remained behind. No matter how much I tried, I couldn't be with the group. So I stayed till it becomes bright, and then try to go back to the same place that we stayed last night, and then take few people with me as guards, so that they help me to reach the caravan. So he says, when I was there waiting, then a person came towards me and spoke in Farsi language, Persian, to me about what I'm doing, what is happening. And he says, I told him I was going for Hajj, I lost my friends, etc. He said in Farsi, Nafile bekhan. You should do nafila, daily ritual prayers which are recommended. He said, I started doing nafila. Again he came and said, didn't you go? I said, Wallah, by Allah, I don't know how to go. He said, Jami'a bekhan, ziyarat al-Jami'a. He says, I didn't know Ziyarat Jami'a by heart, but when he told me Jami'a bekhan, I started reading Ziyarat Jami'a by heart. Again he came and said the same thing, you haven't gone? I said, no. He said, Ashura bekhan, meaning Ziyarat Ashura. He said, I didn't remember by heart, but when he told me, I started reading completely with, Du'a al-Qameh. Again he came and said, you have not gone? I said, no, I am here till, day starts and it becomes bright. He said, now I will take you to your caravan, to your qafila. He was riding a donkey and asked me to sit behind him. I was also holding the lead of my horse, so that comes after us, but was not moving. He took the lead, the horse followed, And then he says that on the way he told me, why you don't read nafila, 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 nafila? Why you don't do jami'ah? Why you don't do ziyarat ashura? And every time was repeating 3 times. Jami'ah, jami'ah, jami'ah. Ashura, ashura, ashura. This is why, when you have very difficult situation in your life, try to do these things, inshallah, for 40 days. May Allah, inshallah, help you. So he says, then I realized that we are close to our friends. He says, he told me after this that your friends are next to the river. They were making wuzu because it was early morning. It was sahar, that before Fajr we started. So he took him maybe with tayyul ard to the friend very quickly. And he says, it was only later that it occurred to me, who was this person? This is near Tabriz. Here no one speaks Farsi. There are Muslims, there are also some Christians living here, but no one speaks Farsi. And then how he managed to take me to my friend so quickly. So he says, I looked, I didn't see anyone. We are not saying definitely this was Imam Zaman, because sometimes Imam Zaman sends other people to help. But anyway, the help is from Imam. And we have many examples from reliable people that leaves no doubt that Imam helps. One also a story which is contemporary is from the late Ayatollah Muhammad Ali Araki. He was Sheikh al-Mujtahideen, but was refusing to give his risala for taqleed because there were enough people. After Imam Khomeini passed away, he accepted, and for some time he was marja', and then he passed away. Ayatollah Araki, Sheikh Muhammad Ali Araki rahmatullah alayh, had a daughter who was very pious and committed, wanted to go to Hajj, but there was no one from family to go with her, so Ayatollah Araki asked her to join Ayatollah al-Ulama Sayyid Musa Zanjani, Shobari Zanjani, who is one of our Maraja today, who was going with his family to Hajj. So this daughter of Ayatollah Araki joined them, and Ayatollah Araki told her, because she was worried, what should I do if I face any problem, etc. Ayatollah Araki advised him to do certain dhikr, Ya Hafiz or Ya Alim, and he says that when she went for tawaf, she had problem because there was crowd, and this is a young girl, is difficult for her to find a way to do tawaf. So she says that I went to a side, and then I heard a voice that Imam Zaman is here, go and join him for tawaf. Do your tawaf behind Imam. And then she says that I saw there is a person and around him there are people, like a circle, and I was able to go behind him inside and did my tawaf without any difficulty. The late Ayatollah al-Uzma Iraqi says that I am certain about truthfulness of my daughter. And she didn't say this story even to Ayatollah Zanjani, who was with her, during Hajj family. No one later said to her father. In any case, it's not one story, 2 stories, 10 stories, 100 stories. There are so many stories from reliable sources that even people who are very doubtful, if they read and they check, they can be sure. Plus, it's also compatible with all our rules and principles that Imam alayhi salam, when we are in need, he helps. But should be something very special. We should not ask Imam to help us with every little thing. Or we should not do things without proper planning and then expect Imam to come and help us. Unfortunately, one problem is that sometimes we don't do things properly and we keep asking Allah and Imam to help us. When something is really out of your control and you have done your best to solve, but you are not able to solve it, it's a kind of iztirar, emergency, then if you do tawassul and ask for help, you will receive help. So this is another dimension of the help of Imam. Among the titles that we have for Imam Mahdi, Ajjalallah Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif, is Al-Ghawth. For example, we had this also before I mentioned Al-Ghawth wa Rahmatul Wasi'ah in Du'ai Ahd, or Mufarraj al-Karb, the one who opens up, who removes Karb. Karb means trouble and grief. Muzil al-Ham, Kashif al-Balwa, Al-Kahf. Kahf means cave, but here means refuge. So these are different titles, and one of the titles which is very good to call Imam with when you are in difficulty is Ya Aba Saleh. This is very good. Ya Baqiyat Allah, Ya Aba Saleh, Adrikni. Imam also is monitoring carefully the situation of people and Shia. He says in the same tawqi that I read for you, the beginning of it, to Sheikh Mufid, إِنَّا غَيْرُ مُهْمِلِينَ لِمُرَاعَاتِكُمْ وَلَا نَاصِينَ لِذِكْرِكُمْ. We don't do ihmal, means we are not heedless about taking care of you. We are not forgetting you. La nasina lidhikrikum. We are always remembering you. وَلَوْلَا ذَلِكَ, had it not been that we always remember you and take care of you, then enemies would have troubled you, would have attacked you, would have destroyed you. Problems would have come to you. Many things don't happen to us and we don't realize how a community that enemies wanted to uproot Muawiyah in a writing, an instruction in writing, said, whoever you are suspicious that is a Shia of Ali, remove them from the registrar. They killed so many Shia, so many Alawis. They put so much financial pressure on them. They killed all our Imams, apart from the 12th Imam that he's in occultation. If he was not in occultation, they would have killed him as well. Still, the community has managed to survive, but not just survive physically. What is more important is to survive with the legacy, with the true teachings of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, with guidance, with knowledge, with piety. Not everyone is knowledgeable, not everyone is pious, but alhamdulillah, we have among ourselves people who have kept light of Ahlul Bayt shining. We have scholarship, we have marja'iyah, we have piety at the peak, knowledge at the peak. So how this happened? By chance? Or just by our own efforts? No. Allah's support, and then under Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the support of Imam Mahdi Jalallah ta'ala Farajahu Sharif. And if we tune ourselves more to the expectations of Imam, if we are more connected to Imam, if we are more united, we can overcome all the problems. In the same phrase, Imam says, فَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ جَلَّ جَلَالُهُ وَالظَّاهِرُونَ عَلَى انْتِيَاشِكُمْ مِنْ فِتْنَةٍ قَدْ أَنَافَتْ عَلَيْكُمْ. Help us so that we can rescue from fitna. Have taqwa. In another tawqi, which in discussion about social wilaya I mentioned, is in Ihtijaj of Tabarsi in volume 2, page 498-99. The part that I mentioned is page 499. Imam alayhi salam says, لو أن أشياعنا وفقهم الله لطاعته على اجتماع من القلوب في الوفاء بالعهد عليهم لما تأخر عنهم اليمن بلقائنا ولتعجلت لهم السعادة بمشاهدتنا على حق المعرفة وصدقها منهم بنا. If our Shia, our followers, may Allah give them tawfiq to obey Allah, if they were united in their hearts in loyalty about that ahd, that covenant which is upon them. Ijtima, the ahd of wilayah, the ahd of intizar for Imam, needs community to be together. This is a teamwork. This is not what individuals can do. If they were united, لما تأخر عنهم اليمن بلقانا, the blessing of meeting us would not have been delayed. ولتعجلت لهم السعادة بمشاهدتنا, and the blessing and happiness of seeing us would have become earlier. We can make through our unity the appearance of Imam and meeting Imam earlier, or we can make it delayed. It's our responsibility to make it earlier. They should have haqqul ma'rifah, they should have honesty and truthful approach. فَمَا يَحْبِسُنَا عَنْهُمْ, it's not stopping us and keeping us separate from them, إِلَّا مَا يَتَّصِلُ بِنَا مِمَّا نَكْرَهُهُ وَلَا نُؤْثِرُهُ مِنْهُمْ. It's not stopping us from being with them except what we receive from the things that we don't like. We don't want them to do, but we receive sad reports that they are not united, they are not doing what they are supposed to do. So what is keeping Imam al-Zaman away from us? Enemies? No. If we were united, if we were prepared, Imam would come. Some people think zulm is not enough. No, zulm is more than enough. Even a small zulm is enough. Some people say, earth should be filled with injustice. بَعْدَمَا مُلِئَتْ ظُلْمًا وَجَوْرًا. But zulm is already too much. Even Quran at the time of Rasulullah tells us ظهر الفساد في البر والبحر بما كسبت أيدي الناس. Even at that time says fasad is dominant. Zulm has such a nature that even a small zulm is too much. I don't think anyone can say, we don't have, zulm all over the world. Zulm is everywhere. Even if we don't do our duties, this is zulm. Man yata'adda hudud Allah faqad zalama nafsah. Every sinner is zalim. Then people do zulm. Husband, wife, children, parents, in-laws, neighbors, colleagues. Sometimes people do zulm to their enemies. Quran says don't do zulm even to enemies. لا يجرمنكم شنآن قوم على ألا تعدلوا. Do not let hostility towards some people make you unjust. اعدلوا. Even with your enemies you have to be just. How many people are just with their enemies? Zulm is too much. Why is Imam is not publicly with us? He himself says ما يحبسنا عنهم إلا ما يتصل بنا مما نكرهه ولا نؤثره منه. The only thing that stops us from being with them is the things that the reports that we receive. That there are things that we don't like and we don't want them to do. We don't want them to have such things. So there are lots of positive things, there are lots of positive individuals, but from what he said before, لو أن أشياءنا وفقهم الله لطاعته على اجتماع من القلوب, we realize that the main thing is unity. If we are united, inshallah other issues can be sorted out. It's not that we don't have other problems, but the main problem is lacking unity. Okay, we inshallah will continue this discussion bi'idhnillah in the next session. In the 5th night of Muharram, some people refer to Habib ibn Mazahir. This is a good reason to remember a great companion of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, who was also a great supporter of Amirul Mu'mineen alayhi salam. One of our ulama that you must have heard is Sheikh Ja'far Shushtari, or some call it Tostari. In Arabic, Shushtar, sometimes they say Tostar. Sheikh Ja'far Shushtari is very well known for his ways of understanding subtle points about Imam Hussein alayhi salam and about Karbala, and making very, very deep points that many times they are unheard. Maybe for the first time he mentioned. And also his way of mentioning masa'ib and suffering of Ahlul Bayt was very effective. But how he became like that? He says, I used to give minbar lecture by reading Tafsir al-Safi by Mullah Muhsin Fayd Kashani rahmatullah alayhi. A great tafsir by one of our great ulama, Tafsir al-Safi. Mullah Muhsin Fayd Kashani is the one that has Al-Wafi, collection of hadith. He has many books like Zadus Salek, which we recently, alhamdulillah, we studied on spirituality, etc. He has 3 tafsir, Safi, Asfa, Musaffa. Tafsir Safi is very well known. So he says, I used to read Tafsir Safi on minbar, and then read also book for Masa'ib. So everything also I had to read from text. My memory was not strong. I could not, read something in advance and then say by heart. I used to read. So he says, one time I did tawassul to Abu Abdullah alayhi salam in the night, and I asked Imam Hussein alayhi salam that, this is the situation with my memory, and also, my member, my roza, are not, effective. So he was very sad about this situation. So he says, in the night that I did tabassul to Abu Abdullah alayhi salam, I had a dream. In the dream, I saw Imam Hussein alayhi salam, and he says that Imam Hussein was in a tent and said, Imam said, tell Sheikh Ja'far to come. Sheikh Ja'far al-Shushtari. So he said, I went there, and Imam Hussein was sitting on a kind of, sarir, on a kind of like bench. And he says, the companions of Imam were also there. And then Imam Hussein told to Habib ibn Mazahir, O Habib, make something, something from flour and oil they used to make, and give to Sheikh Ja'far. So he says, Habib took some flour and, maybe some bread, some oil, and, stirred them, and then put in my mouth. That was the dream that I had. From that time on, my situation changed. Dream is not a hujjah, and I normally don't quote dreams. But having dream of ma'soom is different. Plus, we see the result. Sheikh Ja'far Shushtari, who was not even a normal lecturer, he was very weak. Just reading from the text and no impact on people, all of a sudden changed. He was given great memory, and he was giving such deep and moving majalis and masaib that people could not stop crying. This was attention of Imam Hussein, but through Habib ibn Mazahir. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the provider. But there is a hierarchy. Any person who is good and pious will be given a role to give to others. Sometimes I say that Allah looks for people who are happy to help him with distribution. He has unlimited treasures. إن من شيء إلا عندنا خزائنه. But there must be a network. There must be channels. We should try to be kind, good, loving, generous, so that Allah then sends through us to other people. We can then be in this hierarchy of channels of mercy. So, Habib ibn Mazahir was very respected person, and one of the things that Imam Hussein said about Habib was that Habib was doing Khatm Quran every day. This is how much he loved Quran and how committed he was. So Habib told Muslim ibn Awsaja that we should go and join Imam Hussein alayhi salam. They were in Kufa. So he told his servant to take our horses outside Kufa, because if they knew Habib is moving away, they could have stopped him. Ibn Ziyad is in Kufa and would not let anyone join Imam Hussein, especially someone like Habib. So he said to his servant, take our horses outside city, and also the swords should be hidden so that they don't see we are taking any sword. And then we will come out of the city and take the horses and ride the horses towards Imam Hussein alayhi salam. The servant said, I want also to be with Imam Hussein alayhi salam. So 3 of them managed to go secretly outside Kufa and then go and join Imam Hussein in Karbala. The family of Imam Hussein, Lady Zainab, others, were seeing that enemies are increasing. Their numbers were increasing. I know they had, lots of people, but still more people were coming. Tens, hundreds, thousands were coming. And Imam Hussein was saying also, our helpers also would come. So Lady Zainab was looking, who are the helpers who are coming? So It was when they were standing that they saw Habib ibn Mazahir, Muslim ibn Awsaje, and Ghulam of Habib, servant of Habib, came. Imam Hussein with joy said, "O Zainab, these have come to help us." Lady Zainab said to Imam Hussein, "My brother, convey my salam to Habib. She must be so appreciative that seeing someone like Habib ibn Mazahir, although they were just three people, but Habib was not an ordinary person. Habib was a loyal companion of Amirul Mu'mineen, and Lady Zainab knows the position of Habib and how much respect he had in the city of Kufa. But they left everything to join Imam Hussein alayhi salam. So Abu Abdullah went towards Habib and said, "My sister is sending you salam." And Habib is said that was so embarrassed that in Ma'al al-Sibtain says he took some soil and put on his head and said, "Who am I that Zainab sent salam to? Granddaughter of Rasulullah, daughter of Amirul Mu'mineen and Fatima. She is sending salam to me." In the night of Ashura, Habib collected the companions of Imam Hussein and went towards the tent of Lady Zainab and said, "O daughter of Amirul Mu'mineen, please be sure that as long as any of us is alive, we would not let Hussein to be killed. We do not let Hussein to be attacked." He was really a very loyal companion of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. And in the midday of Ashura, when Imam Hussein alayhi salam wanted to say the prayer, and some from the enemy side was rude to Imam Hussein alayhi salam and said that Allah is not going to accept your salat, O Hussein, Habib took out his sword and attacked, and he was killed finally. Imam Hussein alayhi salam went towards the body of Habib ibn Mazahir and took his head and put on his lap and said, "You were a person of virtues. You were an alim. You used to do Khatm Quran every day." These are testimonies of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. The poet describes the condition of Habib ibn Mazahir, and I would like to read for you just a few lines. سینه خود را سپر تیر بلا کرد حبیب، یاری از سبط رسول دو سرا کرد حبیب. Habib made his chest like a shield for Imam Hussein alayhi salam. He helped the grandson of the master of two worlds, meaning Rasulullah. آبروی دوست چو شد قبله گه او به نماز، کعبه جان به جهان قبله نما کرد حبیب. بر سر قله آزادی و ایمان و شرف، رایت مکتب توحید به پا کرد حبیب. روح باور بود آن آینه صدق و یقین، که از جان یاری آیین خدا کرد حبیب. Habib on the mountain, on the peak of the mountains of faith and honor and freedom, raised the flag of Tawheed. You know, when someone conquers the peak of mountain, they put a flag. Habib managed to climb the mountain of freedom, faith, and sharaf, honor. But he didn't put his name. He put the banner of Tawheed. He had sidq, truthfulness. He had yaqeen, he had certainty. And he gave at the end his life for protection of Islam and to defend his Imam. Allah la'natullah ala al-qawm al-zalimin wa saya'lamu alladhina zalamu ayya munqalabin yanqalabun. O Allah, please accept our little mourning for Abu Abdullah alayhi salam and martyrs of Karbala, and please make our little aza a source of comfort and condolence for Imam of our time, who is the main mourner for Abu Abdullah alayhi salam. Please unite our hearts. Remove any misunderstanding, suspicion, dislike, hatred, enmity from our hearts. Please enable us to understand your will and expectations from us, and give us determination and strength and courage and understanding so that we would fulfill them. Please give shafa to all people who are ill. Please send your rahmah and maghfirah to all who have passed away, especially those who have rights upon us, our parents, foreparents, teachers, ulama, martyrs, maraj. Please bless parents who are alive with health, dignity, and joy, and enable us to serve them. And those who have passed away, please be very kind and generous with them. Please hasten the appearance of Imam Mahdi Ajjalallahu Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif, and make it as soon as possible and as easy as possible. Ameen Ya Rabbal Alameen.